Good morning. Welcome into the closing line for the NFL edition, Week 9. We're here with you, me and Donnie Rightside. I am the big man on campus. We'll get to every game here, get you ready for a big week in NFL football. Should be fun. A lot of great games out there on the card. We'll give you a breakdown for each one and a pick and a couple of best bets. Donnie, how you doing?
Yeah, doing good. A lot of interesting updates here coming through on the inactive list. Which fields are going to be played in horrible conditions? Weather across the country pretty good today, Jeff. But that spot in Miami, if you watched the Miami Hurricanes last night and the Duke Blue Devils, you knew some trouble was coming with the turf today down there at Hard Rock Stadium. So a lot of stuff to go over today, Jeff. 1 hour to do it. Should be able to keep it clean, compact, concise, and get that information out.
Let's get into it here. A lot going on. We will welcome you all in. Hope you had a great weekend and having a great weekend. Make sure you hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, say hello, comment. We have a live chat here. If you're new around here, do all that stuff. Let's start up, Donnie, at the top. We'll try to get to all the injuries and that kind of stuff. Late breaking news. Again, weather not a big problem in the NFL. Actually, it's not a problem at all, really. I don't think there's any game where there's weather. Let's start it out on this one. 451, 452. Detroit Lions heading on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings 4.5, total 48. Stephon Diggs out. Xavier Rhodes in, I believe. Dalvin Cook also in for the Vikings. So some decent news there for Minnesota. You get a little bit of help in your run game. You also get a high-level cornerback. And, look, Donnie, over Matt Stafford's career, he's not played well against the Minnesota Vikings. He's really struggled. Mike Zimmer has been able to figure him out. And it's really been tough for him over his career. What do you like here? I mean, I kind of lean with Minnesota, but the public all over the Vikings here, definitely a big public side. The numbers move down, which is a concern. But, I mean, you can't look at Stafford and say he hasn't struggled against, plus you lose Golden Tate. What do you like here?
Yeah, no, I took this game on Tuesday, right when the trade deadline went down and Golden Tate moved to the Philadelphia Eagles. This was before anybody had practiced out there, so I was counting on a fully healthy Xavier Rhodes, which he's going to play nicked up in this game, tweaking the ankle again, I believe yesterday or Friday in practice, which wasn't good. And this is before the Stephon Diggs information even came out. Where on Wednesday, he was just on the sidelines with some mysterious rib injury that he hurt late in the football game. So that's going to hurt also, but still have to win on the road in the NFL. Ziggy Ansah going to be activated for the first time since week 1 for the Detroit Lions. That should help out their pass rush, but we'll see what happens here. It's a dome game. Still think the Minnesota Vikings are in a must-win position. Nice to get Dalvin Cook back. We'll see how effective he is, but whether he plays 10 to 20 snaps. But this game's going to be won on the arms of Kirk Cousins and the defense of the Minnesota Vikings. We'll see if they can play well and rise up. But I did like this game a lot more before these mysterious injuries that were happening late week to the Minnesota Vikings. So looks like the line's settling in at 4.5. I got it at 4 on Tuesday. Over under 47.5, 48. Which, you take some of these weapons out of the lineup. You might trend to maybe an under here in the division, Jeff, under 48.
You look at Detroit, the struggle has really been, defensive over the years. But you go out and you get a Snacks Harrison that should improve a run defense that's not been good. But this team's still giving up over 5 yards a carry. They're giving up almost 145 yards a game on the ground. If you're Minnesota, you got to find a way to start to establish that run to help Kirk Cousins out a little bit. I would expect him to get the job done. I just don't really like Stafford in this role against the Vikings. He hasn't played well, and his numbers are way down against Zimmer's teams. You also look at the fact that Zimmer's been very good at home against opposing quarterbacks. As far as Stafford's concerned. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you here. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. Line's a little odd, but they definitely have to have this game. You have to expect Tate will hurt. Not having him will hurt. I agree with you here. Let's move it down here. We'll move down to 453, 454. The Cleveland Browns hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. This line is unreal. I mean, you have 80+% of the money or the public on the Chiefs, yet the line has dropped 1.5. Look, I thought the line was too high. I think anything over 7.5 or 7, I'd take the Browns. I think at home, I think there's a renewed confidence around this team now that Jackson's gone. I think they can move the ball against this poor defense. You look at Kansas City. I mean, Donnie, this team giving up 5.5 yards a carry. They're absolutely dead last against the run. You would expect those guys at Cleveland to be able to move the ball. I also don't think that the Browns can stop the Chiefs. This team isn't very good on defense. Cut a couple people out as well. I think there's plenty of points in this game. I think it's like a 34-23 type of game, something like that. I'm going to lean over the number here.
Yeah, it's an interesting game because if you like the over in this game, you better pray Kansas City gets out early, 14-3, 14-0 first quarter league. Because if you're looking at the game, the MO of how the Cleveland Browns probably want to attack this game is getting into a shootout with Kansas City. That doesn't work. That's not going to work at all. So if Kansas City gets up 7-0, 14-0 in the first quarter, then you're looking more at a shootout end of it. But I think they might play it the same style that they played, which didn't last very long versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, 3-0, 6-0, slow it down, run the football. Because the one thing Cleveland can't do is they can't attack. Like when you go up against the Kansas City Chiefs, their defense is pretty much anemic out there. But they don't really have any wide receivers. They have no big play threats for the Cleveland Browns. David Njoku drops half the footballs he sees. You do have Baker Mayfield who's going to be able to get away from whatever pass rush that Kansas City does have. But the thing you need Kansas City to be activated and engaged immediately in this football game if you want to hit this over in this game. Because if you're looking at styles make fights here, if you think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to cover that 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9, whatever you got it at, you better believe it's going to go over the total because this game's not going to end up 24-9 where the Kansas City Chiefs cover in this football game. You're not going to have it one way or another. If the Chiefs win this football game and cover, they're probably going to extend this game into the 30s and force Cleveland to catch up. But if I'm the Cleveland Browns and I'm Greg Williams, I'm a defensive guy here, I tell my offense coordinator to keep the ball on the ground, slow this pace down because if we get into a shootout, we're going to get annihilated. This first quarter is going to tell you a lot about this football game here, Jeff, in Cleveland.
I think Njoku steps out today. This guy's not been good,
He
though.
should.
Catching the ball. This team, as far as the Chiefs, are weak in the middle of the field, maybe slot. This might be the game where Jarvis Landry starts to show his worth, maybe as well. I'm looking to that. I'm also looking at the fact that that's fine. Keep the ball on the ground. Kansas City can't stop the run. I think that will work right into the hands of Cleveland here. And look, I don't think Cleveland is very good through the air. I mean, I know some of the advanced numbers might favor them, but this team's giving up, a lot of yards through the air. I'm going to look to like a 34-23 type of game. I think Cleveland can get into the 20s. If they can get into the 20s, I think this game will go over the number. I'll expect a high scoring game as usual with the Chiefs. 455, 456. Ravens hosting the Steelers. Ravens 1, total 46. This number's been moving around. Ravens open 3. People do like the Steelers. And look, Donnie, for good reason. You look at Mike Tomlin in his career, 28, 18, and 3 as a dog against the number. Very good there if he closes as an underdog. You got to ask yourself, Donnie, how will the Ravens protect Joe Flacco? You look at the fact that they can't run the football. That's been evident this year. You also look at the fact that Ronnie Stanley's out. That's a huge loss for them on the front. You also look at James Hurst is out as well. The left side of that line, Donnie, you got to be a little concerned about it. This Steeler line is very good. They're going to have to get the ball out quick. Could be a lot of sacks today for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you look at the first 3 games, you have 74% on Minnesota, 83% on Kansas City, 72% on Pittsburgh. So you're going to have some public decisiveness there early in action at 1 o'clock. But looking at this game, you're right, Jeff. When you break it down to its common element and you say, wait, Pittsburgh gaining steam, getting better on defense. They probably have overall the better weapons on offense, probably the better offensive line now because Gilbert is going to play and start at left tackle. So you have that full 5-man offensive line, which is very good for Pittsburgh. But we'll see. Camden gave them a lot of problems last week because he's mobile. I mean, going against the Baltimore Ravens defense. Now you're going to have that statue building back there with Ben Roethlisberger. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because typically, Jeff, when we take a look at this series, you're saying, look, Baltimore already won the first game and won it pretty convincingly. They're pulling away in Pittsburgh. Now they're at home. Baltimore Ravens used to be an automatic, just straight up take them at home because how well they play. And you're looking at a line that opened up around 3, goes to 2.5, 2. Now you're seeing 1s across the board. This typically for me in a lot of past instances, Jeff, would be a game that I would be taking the Baltimore Ravens here and wouldn't even think twice about it. But watching over the past couple weeks, it just doesn't look like the Ravens are clicking or all there on offense. And if the one thing that we do know now that the Steelers defense that we saw in the beginning of the season, no longer the same thing, getting healthy, getting rested, getting ready, and they have some nasty edge pass rushers that should be able to get after Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a destructive day for their offensive line. They don't have a lot up there. Ronnie Stanley, one of their better linemen. I mean that's not good. Could be a tough day for those guys. It's a tough game. I mean, I lean Steelers though at this point, just because I don't have any confidence right now in this offense for the Ravens. It seemed to kind of went by the wayside. Um, I'll be honest, Donnie. I think a decent play in this game is under the number. I think both these teams get after it on the defensive end today. I think it's your typical knockdown, drag out affair in the AFC North. 46, not a bad number, really. You look at the last couple games between these two, though. Generally low scoring. You had that 139-38 game there, but last three games, 2 out of the 3 have gone under the number. I think we see a game in the low 20s here. Maybe high teens, low 20s. It's low, but a tough game, very tough. Not a game that'll be on my card. It's just a game you obviously want to watch. These two teams generally play it close to the vest. A couple comments here. Let's take a moment here. Season on the line for the Ravens. They played desperate today. And I think they will. I mean, this is a game where, obviously there's no love lost between these two. I like the points in the Steeler game. Steelers lost to the Ravens at home. It's a revenge spot. Yeah, look, I don't think revenge stuff means much in the NFL, but I think these teams will both be up for this game, Donnie. I don't think you need to put fire to anyone's blood as far as this one's concerned. Yeah, flip a coin. That's a good point, actually, Donnie. It's a tough one here. But for me, when I flip the coin, I'd prefer the Steelers here. I don't know that I would want to bet the Ravens in this spot.
Yeah, something's got to change with the Ravens. I mean, they're not firing on all cylinders right now. They don't look like the good football team. And I'll say it on every show that we came on, Jeff, dating all the way back to that Monday Night Football game where the Steelers were on the road in the must-win situation. I said now is the time to buy on. And look at these Cincinnati Bengals now, Jeff. Going to lose A.J. Green for a couple weeks. They can sort of, take control of this division, which I always thought they were the better overall football team. We'll see what plays out today. But look, it's hard to win on the road in the NFL. I think we can all agree upon that. This is a really cheap number. We'll see the mettle of what the Ravens have because last week they didn't show up. We'll see if they show up against their hated rival this week.
Yeah, it's two teams, Donnie, right now going in opposite directions. You have a team in Pittsburgh that's won 4 or 5, and you have a team in Baltimore that's lost 3 or 4 and really hasn't. That Cleveland game was kind of the tipping point for them looking poor. Let's keep it going here. A nice pace and great predictions. A lot of people in here, 400 plus right now, 420 to be exact, to toke one back and listen in. Great stuff. Very interested here. Let's keep it moving. What do we got? Tampa Bay headed on the road to take on Carolina. Carolina 6, total 55. Donnie, I smell a rat in this game. I do. I think Carolina is good. Cam Newton is having a terrific season, Donnie. You look at Cam, I mean, he's been terrific. He doesn't get sacked. His completion percentage is high. His interception rate is low. He's just looked terrific. And against a team, Donnie, that just cannot stop anyone or anything. I mean, you look at this defense. Who exactly is playing for the Tampa Bay Bucks? I mean, it just seems like a ravaged team defensively, and they have been all year, and it's shown on the football field. They've looked awful. I don't know how else to say it. This one's very simple to me, Donnie. I think team total over for the Panthers. I don't think it's a bad bet here. If it loses, it loses. But I think this is a total shootout. I hate to, kind of get and be very rudimentary and basic here, but I think over 55 is the play in this game. I think Carolina will give up points. I think this is a fun game. I think if you like Carolina, you probably maybe will stay away from the total. You'd expect it to be kind of one of those 38-20 type of games or kind of close to the total. If you like the Bucks, I think you expect to be high scoring, expect to be a shootout. You're taking the 6 and saying, well, I'll take 6 in the shootout. What do you think here, Donnie? I'm going over the number. I'm taking Panthers team total over as well.
Yeah, early in the week, you're looking at this football game saying, man, I like what Carolina's doing. They should be able to just throw their football helmets out there and beat this poor Tampa Bay team. But something almost rejuvenizes or galvanizes the team whenever Fitzpatrick comes in, comes all the way back last week, almost leads them to a victory, a 3-point loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now they roll on the road here, over under 55. So you should be getting a lot of points in this football game, Jeff. I do agree with you here, but it's interesting. Line opens up at 7 in some outlets, 6.5. Now you're seeing 6s mostly across the board here. And I tend to agree with it because if you're going to have Fitzpatrick at quarterback, Jeff, he is going to throw and throw and throw and throw. And if you're Carolina, you're probably going to keep it more on the ground. You're not going to have those huge chunk plays that you typically can get against Tampa Bay, because that's not really the MO of the Carolina Panthers on offense. I think they can sneak through the back door, Jeff, as a road team here, Tampa Bay, and keep it under that number. I think it'll be a pretty good game all the way throughout. And let's not forget, Jeff, Thursday Night Football, huge game. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Carolina Panthers. So, look, I don't think everybody's looking ahead, because you still have to conversate and get after these football teams in their division, which they're going to do today. But I do see some points in this game, and I think Tampa Bay, Jeff, can keep it close.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the number move down is interesting. I mean, no one wants Tampa, but I think there's still that unbridled excitement when Fitzpatrick plays. He is a gunslinger. He's going to throw it around. They're going to kind of try to stay in the game through the air. I don't love Carolina through the air. I never have really. I know their numbers have maybe insinuated that they're getting better through the air, but I don't know. As far as Donnie, this Tampa Bay defense, they've given up 30 or more in 5 of their 7 games, 40 or more in 2. This is a bad defense.
Getting some help back today, though, Jeff. Vinny Curry, Joe McCoy, and JPP all ready to go today. So maybe that McCoy in the middle helps slow down some of that read option game. You see what we can get, because he's been out a couple weeks, and that's one of the better D tackles in the league. We'll see if that makes a difference today.
Yeah, look, I think you have to attack. I mean, you have to go through the air. That's how you beat and riddle the Tampa Bay Bucks. And again, Cam doesn't get sacked. I mean, his elusiveness has obviously always been very adamant in his career. So, are always live in his career. So, yeah, I'm not totally worried, but I guess that's nice. Donnie, you have a random comment here. Big man, how did you know? Question mark. I know everything, West Coast. That's not a question that should be asked, Donnie. As you know, Donnie, I know everything. Corey K, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, exactly, Nut Flush on. We have 460 people in here. Hit the like button, for Christ's sakes. What are you doing with yourself? Hit the like for us. It's like when we come in your house, we take our shoes off. We don't walk around trudging mud everywhere. We take our shoes off. We're respectful. When you come in, hit that like button. Do that right away. It's very important. Thank you, and we welcome you in. What do we got here? So yeah, I mean, overall, Donnie, what are you doing here? I'm going over 55.
I'm gonna put a little sneaky on this one. I think Fitzpatrick's gonna have a decent day behind center. I think they can keep it close, maybe surprise, early on, maybe take a lead against Carolina. Well, Carolina over, I mean, we can agree the better football team. It is hard to sack Cam Newton. You bring up a good point there. And I love what Norv Turner is doing with that offense now with all those wide receivers, a lot of read option, a lot of RPO, a lot of misdirection, wide receivers coming in motion with the rocket screens. I mean, they're doing a really good job keeping up with it. But the way I always like to see a team just straight up attack Tampa Bay, Jeff, not mess around with the running game, just hit those vertical passes, which not really, again, I like to get back to the MO of the Panthers. Do I think the Panthers should win the football game? Absolutely. But I think Fitzpatrick, Jeff, if he's down 10 points, late in that football game, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, Godwin, there's a lot of players out there that can get after it.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to figure, Donnie, he could be up for a few pick sixes. He's always good for one of those, generally. Yeah. Could be some short fields. Let's keep it moving here. Down to probably the most boring game of the day. I don't think anyone cares whatsoever about this one, but it could be a betting opportunity. 459, 460. Miami -3, hosting the Jets. 43.5 on a total. You look at both these teams, not very poor throwing the football. We all know what these quarterbacks are kind of doing. I mean, Darnold's had some stretches at times this year, but on the road, this team has really struggled. They're 1-3 on the road. The offense has been poor. They're only putting up about 250 yards a game on the road. You look at pace, both these teams very slow. Field conditions aren't good as well. After last night's game, you have a little wind in the area. I mean, it looks like a stone cold nuts under, Donnie. But again, I don't bet unders in the NFL. I'm just not into it anymore. Totals come down for a reason. That field doesn't look very good.
No, and it's interesting because if you did watch the Duke-Miami game, it was fun, though. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. It was disgusting to watch, but actually pretty fun if you're just a casual fan as they played in that monsoon. And it's amazing. A field in Miami with not very good drainage doesn't really make too much sense to me with the amount of rain they actually get. You figure it would be one of the best drainage systems, Jeff, in the National Football League. Not the case. But let's take a look at this football game overall, Jeff, when you're looking at the Jets. I mean, this line was at 41. Now it's at 43.5. Reason being, mysteriously activation of Kenny Stills. Mysterious serious activation of Robbie Anderson and Quincy and Nunwa. So you're going to get some weapons out there for these quarterbacks to throw to. Now, also, when you look at bad field conditions, it really hampers the defensive line because you can't get that pass rush. You can't get a speed rush. If you're looking at Cam Wake coming off the edge or collapsing in that pocket on the young rookie, he's going to be able to escape and get more time out there. The reason why we didn't like the Jets all that much last week, Jeff, against the Chicago Bears, who the heck did Sam Darnold have to throw to last week? Now he's getting some weapons back in this one. The total is kind of interesting. And I don't just like to bet based on field conditions and say that's a stone cold under just because of the field, because you can very easily go with a couple slips and a couple fumbles and, big plays that were made the opposite direction that can lead to more scoring in this game. But I was really close, honestly, Jeff, to taking the Jets +3 once I saw them get some added weapons at wide receiver. I think it'll be a slowdown game. It is Brock Osweiler at quarterback. Rookie on the road was the reason why I stayed off it, but I'm leaning towards the Jets +3 here.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm not big in the Jets on the road. I think they've been a decent bet at home. I had them that 1 week against Denver, and it was, kind of worthy. But yeah, again, I don't think it's a bad idea to ever take, and fade Brock Osweiler. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think the Jets are decent on defense. I mean, Donnie, you definitely like Darnold way over Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, because he's going to be able to move around in the pocket, make some plays. And he faced a pretty good defense in bad. I'm talking about 15, 20-mile wins last week with nobody at wide receiver. Now he's going to get a little bit of comfort level. It's nice, Jeff, when you look up and Robbie Anderson's 3 to 4 yards behind that cornerback. When you were looking up last week to Curse at wide receiver, you're like, you know what? Let's just get out of here and hope nobody gets hurt. Now you have some weapons to play with down there. And you're getting some points, which I think is going to be a lower scoring game, in that range.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely getting some playmakers back, which is great. So, I mean, that's obviously a help, for a young quarterback on the road. I would take the Jets money line. Says you, Dom Porn, rat to the facty. I mean, getting a couple extra dollars there in a close game though. 3 could be really nice to have. Yeah. Chris C. We'll talk about that tomorrow, man. This is an NFL show. We'll speak about the Air Force Falcon tomorrow.
We'll put that on the morning headlines tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll also talk about Andy and Isabella in his career day, Donnie. Andy and Isabella will get shine on our show.
And he's destined to be a New England Patriot, by the way, folks.
Yes. By the way, Donnie, I'm blown away to learn that Andy Isabella is only a sophomore.
Yeah, I don't know what he is, but he's a freak. And we're going to spend the whole segment on this kid tomorrow, which nobody's heard about apparently since me or Jeff all season, because we watch a lot of UMass football, but that's for another day there for us.
Yeah, it's amazing he's only a sophomore. I thought he was like at least a redshirt senior or like a senior at this point. 461, 462. Atlanta headed on the road to take on Washington. Washington 2, total 47. I think, Donnie, for me, every time you have Atlanta play, I mean, you have to obviously look at the opponent. To me, Washington are a weird team. They're the most mysterious team to me in the league. I want to believe in their defense. I want to believe that they're good, and I want to believe that they're there and that they're going to be a force. You're going to get Clinton Dix. I don't know how much he'll play or if he'll play at all, but he'll be a nice addition down the road for this team. Mm-hmm. This is obviously a very tough ask, though, to stop this offense. They're the best passing attack in the league. You have to figure Josh Norman will cover, Julio, but then that will let other players get in, as far as getting into the action. Quentin Dunbar back, which is a nice help for the Redskins. But it's hard to not envision a massive performance here from this offense for the Falcons. Do you believe in this team defensively?
The Redskins, I do. I really like the way the Redskins have. But also, Jeff, the Redskins' defense is a product of their offense, right? If you're going to go out and you're not going to 3 and out real quickly, you're going to pick up maybe a first down or 2. You're going to do it by running the football, which means you're lending yourself to 4, 5, 6-minute drives. Your defense is out there facing less plays, not going to rack up as much yardage. And again, points, because your offense itself is not scoring points, so therefore the other team is not boat racing you the other way. That's an interesting point when you look at this game today, because the Redskins, to me, they're kind of hard to describe because they have, I would say, maybe the lowest ceiling out there, just the way they play football, which you expect 17 to 20 points is what their target range is. If they score in the 30s, you'd be absolutely shocked at it. And that's not what the Atlanta Falcons do, Jeff, as you know. They're going to go out and press. They're going to throw it all over the field. They're going to force you to keep up and play, which do I think the Redskins can do? Yes, because it's the Atlanta Falcons, a dome team coming outdoors. But I just feel it's smoke and mirrors. Like sooner or later, Adrian Peterson's going to run out of gas, and you have no wide receivers and a quarterback that throws 4-yard routes. It's sooner or later it's going to catch up. Maybe it's going to be today.
Here's my problem with Washington, and here's why I'm not going to bet this game at all. First of all, you have a team in Atlanta who's 0-2 on the road. They're averaging 14 and a half points a game on the road. I don't want them outside. I just don't. Sorry. And they're facing a defense that's pretty good. But here's the problem. Washington's good against the run. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher since week 3. But they're not good against the pass. I mean, they've given up 240 or more in every game since week 3. They're going to sling it around Atlanta. But Donnie, do you think they can go out on the road and do it? I mean, the weather's fine. We're not too far from Landover. The weather's fine. It's sunny. It's a little nippy, but not overall bad. I don't know that I believe, though, in Atlanta on the road. I just don't love them outside. And they've shown that they're not very good on the road.
Yeah, Trent Williams going to miss this football game too. The all-pro left tackle. That might come into a little bit. Maybe a Vic Beasley can get fired up. A Tack McKinley can get fired up and maybe beat his man for a sack that typically would not be there. One of the better offensive lines in the football league, in the National Football League, Jeff, when they are healthy, but a little bit banged up in this one. They're still banged up at wide receiver. They don't have many options out here. If you're the Atlanta Falcons, look, the Redskins are going to try their same way they've beaten everybody, Jeff. Keep the ball on the ground, throw it out, keep ahead of the sticks, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, quarterback running out of the pocket. I want to see if the Atlanta Falcons can punch them in the mouth early and get a lead on them, because last week, Jeff, they were ripe for the taking for the New York Giants. But that inept, decrepit old man in a wheelchair that shouldn't be in the football league anymore was the only reason that the Redskins didn't get beat last week, straight up. So maybe the Falcons off a bye, got their stuff together and say, look, we should be able to score out here. I like the Redskins secondary. I think it's pretty good. They get Dunbar now back at cornerback along with Josh Norman on the other side, and a fast, physical, tough front seven. But sooner or later, you're going to have to score more than 20 points. Can they do it today?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If I had to bet this game, which I'm not, I don't see what the like. I don't know why you would be much interested in this game, but I'm going to take the Redskins. I think they get the job done here at home. I just don't like Atlanta on the road. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with you.
Chicago headed on the road to take on the Bills. I see that number, that 10 number, and I'm thinking they're at home, and I'm thinking, oh, well, okay, that makes sense. But no, sorry, they're on the road laying 10 at Buffalo, total 38. Josh Allen obviously out. Derek Anderson out. I think that's probably a blessing for Donnie the Bills. For as turnover prone as Nathan Peterman is, Derek Anderson's just bottom of the barrel. I mean, what are you really getting out of him? I mean, he's just one of those quarterbacks, Donnie. You're just like, well, this guy's in. He's not moving the ball. Is he going to even move the ball, let alone score? Is Chicago, though, ready to lay a number like this? I mean, this is a lot of points to lay on the road for a team like Chicago. A young quarterback, their best defensive players out. Their center. Actually, I'm sorry, they have some offensive line issues, but it looks like those guys are good to go. What do you like here? This is a game that's tough. I mean, Buffalo, the worst offense in the league. Honestly, can't move the ball, only average about 11 points a game. It seems like a big ask for them to try to score against Chicago, even though Khalil Mack is out.
Yeah, no, Khalil Mack's out. I mean, he's been banged up for a good portion of this year. The one thing you want to look at is from, what are you going to get from the Chicago Bears? Trubisky's still a younger quarterback going on the road, didn't play very well in the Arizona game, but they still eked out a win 16-14. But since then, Jeff scored 48 versus Tampa Bay, 28 versus Miami on the road, 31 versus New England Patriots, and 24 for the Jets in that windstorm where they really didn't have to do too much in that game. So I think this game is going to really MO a lot of that New York Jets game. But I think the Buffalo Bills have a little bit more weapons, and we'll be able to move the football today. We're talking about nice weather again, Jeff. Last week, 25-mile-an-hour winds, freezing cold in Chicago, rain before the game. It's going to be 50s, high 40s, low 50s, light wind in Buffalo. I think both these teams will score a little bit more than you would anticipate in this game. I think the Bears will be their customary into the 20s. And I think the Buffalo Bills will move the football and score a little bit. Nathan Peterman has a pretty good arm. He just doesn't throw it to the right person all the time. You see the throws that he makes versus the Houston Texans, a dime for a touchdown to put them up in the league. I believe it was like a 21, 22-yard touchdown throw. And then you see the ball in the flat that just telegraphed for a pick six. You'll get that as well. I'm interested to see what the actual Buffalo game plan is going to be, because it's going to be slow it down, run it up the middle. That's not really going to work. I think they'll open it up a little bit and say, you know what? Let's see how Nathan Peterman does in the first quarter. And again, styles are going to dictate fights in this game, because if Chicago is going to say, we're going to run the football and keep it close, the Buffalo Bills will do the same thing. Maybe Tariq Cohen gets off. Maybe Howard gets off. Allen Robinson's going to miss this football game. But two guys with a little bit of athletic ability back there should be able to avoid the pass rush. and I think there'll be a little bit more points scored than not in this one. But laying double digits on the road for the Chicago Bears, Jeff, even though I know how bad the Bills are, I'm not really interested in that at all.
I mean, Donnie, quite amazing with Peterman. He's thrown an interception or fumbled 13.7% of his dropbacks. That's amazing.
A
I
lot
mean,
more bust than boom, Jeff, in that.
yeah, I mean that's quite amazing as far as his inability to do anything positive with the ball, and the fact that he does so many negative things with the ball on so little dropbacks, quite amazing. Yeah, it's a tough game for me. I mean, I will say, Donnie, it seems like one of these things where I think a lot of people buy in and say, "Wow, 37 in the NFL, it's low," but I know the Bills can't score. That looks like a great play. That's 23-0 or something. Generally, Donnie, when you see a team go on these under streaks, there's an over right around the next game,
Buy low.
Donnie.
Buy low.
Yeah,
Buy low.
right.
Yep, and it's a good point you bring up there, Jeff, because we're taking a look back at the last two games with Derek Anderson, who wasn't supposed to be playing in the NFL, a dinosaur that knows half of the playbook, that was promised that he just had to come in and mentor these young quarterbacks, and then thrust into a mode of saying, I hope I just don't die out here on the football field. At least Nathan Peterman thinks he has a future in the NFL. He does have a better arm than Derek Anderson. He's more mobile than Derek Anderson. Maybe makes a play or two in this game, but this probably total is going to hinge also, Jeff, on whether or not you get a interception return, a fumble return, or a kick return in this game, which you have some pretty dynamic guys on special teams here, so keep an eye on that. But generally, again, you're looking in November. Buffalo's usually, low 40s, windy, whippy conditions out there. You're going to get a decent day, and that usually lends itself to some scoring.
I'll tell you what, Donnie. This commenter, Dom Porn, wrapped in a fact day, he's making some good points here. You have a lot of people in this chat. Bills team total over 6.5 at the half. I think they could score in the first half. I like that one. I think
and all it takes to, you miss out a lot of stuff. Like Mitch Trubisky's not the greatest quarterback. He throws a lot of bad balls as well to get intercepted. And you have an opportunistic defense. Last night, Jeff, in college football, one of the worst offensive displays you'll see through about 2.5 quarters was the New Mexico San Diego State game. You guys shouldn't have been watching it anyway because it was an awful game. But all it takes is a fumble here, a fumble there, and it sets everything in motion. And in the NFL, if you're betting under 45s, you just have to get lucky to win unders. It's not skill.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go on a limb here, Donnie. You know what I think is going to happen at about 1:15 Eastern?
Oh,
we're going to see the Bills go up 7-0 on the Bears. Everyone's going to be like, oh, my God, look at the Bills. I just see it. I see it now. Nathan Peterman does something good for once. I see it. So don't be surprised if you see that. I like that play, Dom Porn. I'm going to go.
Look at how it's set up here. Is it like the craziest game in the world, Jeff? 24-14? Is that an outrageous scoring affair? No, but it gets the total.
No, that's the crazy thing, Donnie. You're right. You have to think outside of the box with the NFL. It doesn't work like we all think. I know a lot of people think it works like, oh, well, that team's favored by 10. They're just going to roll. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Joseph Browning, you're high. Okay, well, I think they can score in the first half. I don't think that's out of the question, dude. What do you think of Bills' money line? And that's really going on.
Hey, that's a big payday if you hit it. That's about all odds where I'll leave it.
But are the Bears to be trusted at this number?
The Bears are an overall better football team, but the Bills do bring a little bit of defense out there. We can agree on that. It's just a matter of what game plan you're going to get out there. Are you going to get the Tariq Cohen that's going to take a screen pass, 80 yards in the first 5 minutes of the game, and then the Bills just start stressing? Or are you going to get the Bills playing confidently and aggressively on offense? It's going to be fun to watch because this Chicago Bears defense can be had. I mean, you see some of the numbers out there. Look, Brock Osweiler hit 31 up on that team. Brock Osweiler threw for 380 yards when he was supposed to die that day on the field versus the Bears. So what happens?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're dead on the money. I think you're onto something here. I mean, you look at the Bears though; they don't have any injuries other than Mack. I mean, they've been fairly lucky.
Allen Robinson on offense banged up. They lose Long as their guard for a couple weeks there, but no, they're relatively healthy in this football game. You know who's down? Jeff is an inactive scratch. Kevin White, man, this guy I guess just could never get it under control in the NFL. Too many injuries and just a wasted talent from West Virginia.
Oh, Kevin White. Yeah. No, he never plays. It's amazing. All right.
4 o'clock.
A lot of people in here. We welcome all of you. Thanks for checking us out here on the show. Kevin Garrett, field conditions in Miami. Yep, talked about that. I got $5K to invest. Any suggestions on Washington? Talk
Take
about
it.
that
Take the
game.
5K and buy Wabistics. You will not be
Yeah, there's a
saddened by that.
stock tip. It's called Wabistics. Kevin or Robert, I think your name is. There's a stock tip. It's called Wabistics. It's going to have a big move up tomorrow morning when the market hits. That could be insider trading. I don't know, but I have somebody that
Yeah.
knows. His name is Sean Gismonte.
His name is Anthony Bevilacqua, Sean Gismonti, and also their understudy, Jeff, Michael Kendrick. So we got a lot of people in on
Oh,
this.
true. Yeah, there's a guy I got a hot tip from, Donnie, named Matthew Bevilacqua.
Yeah.
He goes by Drinkwater, but he's the guy that gave me that tip. Yeah, if you have 5K to invest, here's one thing. That would be the last game I would have you investing in. That's not a game I have much on. Or any of us really. 4 o'clock. Let's move on.
Good ones.
Houston heading on the road to take on Denver. Denver won total 46.5. Donnie, this is very, very simple for me. I like Denver in this game. They're going to be my
Yes.
play of the day on this show.
Mm-hmm.
I think they beat. The Texans. I think this is a very buy low opportunity. A lot of people love Houston right now, including me, and I'm rooting for them. I have a Super Bowl future on them, and this finish has been terrific the last couple weeks. But everybody's high on them. Everybody's low on Denver. Denver got rid of Thomas. Now Houston, has him. Yet the line opens as Denver's a favorite. Denver's very good at home, always. The whole world is on the Texans. Yet the line is favoring Denver. It doesn't make any sense. I think sharps are all over Denver, and I'm going to side with them here. I think Denver and that defense get the job done in a low-scoring game. Give me Denver at home, -1.
Oh, we think low scoring. He said, I think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring than the 46.5, Jeff, only because, again, we're looking at 55 degrees in Denver and light windy conditions today. And you also have major, major injuries in the back end of both the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans. So I do think you're going to get a little bit of scoring. But I agree with you on the Denver play. Look, it's a tough place to play, man. You're going to elevation. We'll see if that lung holds up, which I think it will for Deshaun Watson. But you're down Will Fuller. You replace him with a guy that's doesn't really do the same type of things. And who's to say, Jeff, that a wrong route is not run by Demaryius Thomas today because he's unsure of what actually the quarterback wants or, the rapport between each other. DeAndre Hopkins going to get his. He always gets his. But where's the offense going to come from the Houston Texans in this football game? You're going to get a pretty good pass rush from the Denver Broncos. I agree with you because I think the overall better team and the team headed in the right direction is the Houston Texans. But look, man, you're asking them to go on the road. You're asking them to play in Denver in elevation and win this football game outright. I lean Denver Broncos with you as well, Jeff. And I think the line predicted that as well. We're looking at opening up at -1, stays at -1. All everybody cares about is the Houston Texans in this one. Should be a good football game, and I think Denver can pull this one out.
We'll lay the 115, take the money line with Denver.
No,
Not
not.
worry about that one. It's very simple. I don't think I think people are devaluing Denver at home. They're always very good at that stadium. Houston, going outside, got to play, new circumstances. How effective will Thomas be? Will we see much of him? I think this is a spot for Denver to Denver's been scoring points, Donnie. They're putting up points, 29.5 points a game over the last 3. They're getting the job done. They just have had some bad luck.
Can you just, and it's always every week, Keenum, can you just, the guy's wide open, hit him. That's all you're asking from Case Keenum.
Kiki Cutie out as well today for Houston. He's been a nice little spot for them, kind of as a third receiver. So, Clowney, is he in or out? I thought he was questionable.
I believe he's. I haven't heard anything obviously 1.5 hours before game time, we'll know for sure. But there's a laundry list of injuries for the Houston Texans in this one. So sort of those inactive reports.
Here's my one concern with Denver. Denver's offensive line sucks. Jared Valdeer's been injured.
He's back today, at least, yeah.
Garrett Bowles stinks. Garrett Bowles has been victimized by a lot of players. J.J. Watt could have his way with
no. Both teams have A1A pass rushers on their side of the football, so somebody's going to have to protect.
Sure. I'm gonna go Denver money line play of the day. Let's keep it going here. 467, 468. Seahawks hosting the Chargers. Seahawks. Now an underdog, Donnie, I'm seeing. Chargers -1, total 48.5. Now, again, this is flashing right through Pick'em and 1. You might have Seahawks 1 at your book. Donnie, I'm lost on this game. I don't know where to go with it. What are you thinking here?
I think I want to just keep it simple, Jeff. Do I think the Chargers are overall more talented? Yes, I do. But something is going on with Seattle now where they're just being coached up amazingly on defense. And you know what actually changes, Jeff? When you start to get healthy. When you lose Earl Thomas on the back end, the back four look like they're playing well. Now you have KJ Wright back in the mold with a healthy Bobby Wagner. They're controlling the middle. You're getting a good pass rush up front. You're not going to be able to hear the signals. And look, Melvin Gordon is a little bit banged up. Those hamstring injuries, like, hey, look good in practice on Friday. You know as well as I do, Jeff. One handoff in the first quarter, and he's off to the sideline, and now you don't get to use him. It's going to be a really, really good football game. I don't even want to say the square. Like the public part of me just says, you know what? I just think the Chargers overall are a better football team. But I've seen this story many, many times, Jeff. Watch the last 2 weeks where Oakland stinks, but they eviscerated Oakland. They went on the road and broke the neck of the Detroit Lions last week. Now they're coming home feeling good and on a win streak and saying, you know what? When we were down and out, and even I wrote the football team off, we have a legitimate shot in the playoffs if we win this football game today. I'm going with Seattle here.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. I like the other side. I like Chargers off a bye. They've covered 3 in a row off a bye. I think they're the better football team. Am I in belief that that Seahawks defense is back? I think they're getting there. But it's hard to take Phillip Rivers in like these kind of games because he generally shits on his leg in these kind of games. So yeah, it's a tough game. I mean, Chargers have been playing well. They're 4 in a row. Both teams are playing good football.
Yeah.
I guess you look at kind of the differences, maybe that home atmosphere up in Seattle. It'll be loud up there. But this team has really started to run the ball effectively. Can the Chargers stop the run? You look at the last 3 weeks, Donnie, 4 weeks really, 150 yards or more for Seattle in each game on the ground. They've really started to get it going. Rashad Penny, Chris Carson, he's going to play today. So, yeah, I mean, they're starting to move the football on the ground. And obviously with Russell Wilson, that's a nice thing to have. Tough game. We'll maybe talk about it more at the halftime show, but I don't know about this one. Let's go to the big one here, Donnie. Rams headed on the road to take on the Saints. Rams 1.5, total 56.5. I've made the proclamation, and I'll continue to make it. I don't think the Rams are going to lose any football games this year in the regular season. I think this is the last hurdle for them. If they can beat the Saints, I think they will go undefeated. And I think, Donnie, if I'm correct, I've heard you say the same thing. I like the Rams. I think they're the most complete team in the league. I don't love them on defense, but I think they're better than the Saints. Here's the problem with the Saints. The Saints are a fraud. They can't stop anyone on defense. That's the issue for me. I love them on offense. They can move the football, and this game will be high scoring. But for me, when I need to stop late in the football game, I have no trust in the Saints. I think they have one of the worst secondaries in the league. I think they're going to be exploited all day. And the fact that they can stop the run, okay. But you have you have a guy in Mark Ingram who's very good. Taysom Hill's been a nice kind of change of pace. And Alvin Kamara is one of the best players in the league. We saw last week, they could be run on a little bit. I know they're good against the run, but they could be, kind of gapped up and moved on. I think for me, it's all about Goff. It's all about that play through the air. I think he shreds the Saints. Should be a high-scoring affair. But I just more in the late game situation, in a close game, I have no belief that the Saints can get it stopped. None.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you take a look overall at the Rams, sometimes I just think they get bored because they're so good, but now they might be engaged. But in this type of atmosphere where the Saints and those fans are going to be running hot for this football game, I can't wait to watch it. And you can build a case for both sides of it. The reason why I like New Orleans is it's Drew Brees. It's at home. The place is going to be loud. Jared Goff's still a younger quarterback. They tend to snap the football a little bit later on the play clock. And look at the Minnesota game, 38-31, close one. At Seattle, 33-31. At Denver, 23-20. You bust up San Francisco on the road 39-10. Then you come back to Green Bay, you beat them 29-27, which if there's not a fumble at the end of the football game, I think the Green Bay Packers win that football game. I think there's a lot of comparables between the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints. I know you're talking about being an undefeated season. I don't think it gets there for the Rams, and also for one being that I don't think it gets there is if they're 14-0 at one point, they're probably going to start resting some guys because nobody remembers that New England Patriots team that rolled through the regular season but lost the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the most important thing. So I do think late in the season, if they have that much of a lead and advantage where they clinched up a lot of stuff, which beating the Saints here would give you the tiebreaker over the Saints as well. I don't know if they can get an undefeated season. But back to this game overall, it's going to be fun to watch, man. And I'm just waiting to see what Sean Payton and Sean McVay go at each other with some amazing play calls. But I just think Drew Brees in the dome when he's healthy and upright with an offensive line to protect him is a little bit too much to overcome. But I think you're going to see an amazing football game that might change, Jeff, just like last week when you saw the Minnesota Vikings in full control, fumble here, bad tipped ball, interception there. I like the New Orleans Saints here at home. It's going to be awesome to watch.
No, it should be a great game. I mean, you'd expect it to be one of the best in we've seen this year. All I've heard is how great the Saints are. Everybody blows me up. Saints are going to beat them. Saints are going to beat them. And you see on the chat, Saints are going to beat them. Listen, keep betting against the Rams. Do what you got to do. I disagree. I think they go in and beat them up. I think the Saints are bad through the air, and that'll be exploited today. Couple comments here. Rams are due a loss. They almost lost against the Packers. They didn't, though. Okay? If I had a fifth of vodka last night, I would have been drunk. I didn't have one, though. It doesn't matter. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, Donnie. Doesn't matter they almost lost. They didn't, though. The Eagles almost lost against the Falcons this year. They didn't. Okay? It doesn't, we can play in fantasy and eventually, though, we got to get to some reality here. The reality is they're undefeated. Okay? And they're going on the road here, and this is a tough game. We get that. But, Donnie, answer this with a yes or no answer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust the Saints if this game is 38-34 and the Saints are on defense and they got to get a stop at the 5-yard line on 3rd and goal and 4th? Do you expect them to get a stop? I don't.
Well, I mean, that's a tough situation. I mean, you could say the same thing if New Orleans had the ball on the 5-yard line. Do you trust the Rams defense?
Get it done. Good defenses get it done. Okay, a game, Donnie, in a late game situation, whether it's, you know what I'm saying. Like last year, the Saints couldn't get a stop against the Vikings. That was the truth of the matter. And we could talk about how it happened or whatever, but they couldn't get a stop. That Williams guy doesn't belong on the football field. Do I give a shit that he had a pick six? I say, no, I don't. I just don't. He's not good, and he'll be exploited today. You'll all see that.
The 4 o'clock game, the 4 o'clock games and the 8 o'clock games, they're awesome games, man.
Yes,
you can make a case for every single one of those opposite way, which makes it fun because look at the lines, Jeff. Denver, -1. Seattle, -1. Los Angeles Rams, -1.5. That's what I love about the NFL because you can get both sides of the argument. Like, you know what, damn, Jeff's got a pretty good point there. You know what, Donnie has a good point there. Somebody in the chat box has a great point there. These games are awesome, man. What a great way to break these down.
I would be very surprised if the public's on the Rams. They're not on the Rams, I don't think. Are they?
It's almost 50-50. It's like 52-48. I mean,
so it's really not going to matter.
Yeah.
It's like one of those NFC title games where the spread doesn't matter.
Yeah, and what do you expect out of this game? What you just said, Jeff. Would it be a surprise? 38-34. Breeze has the ball in his own 40 with 1:10 on the clock. 38-34 the other way. Jared Goff has the ball in his own 34 going the other. You know what I mean? I hope it does. From a fan's perspective here, I probably won't be gambling on the game, but I want to watch a really good one, man.
Here's one thing I do know, though, and this is where we're not going to overthink things, Donnie. Mm-hmm. This game is going over 56.5. It is. I mean, if it doesn't, are you really going to be pissed off if this game's 30-24? And the game doesn't go.
Like, can you imagine this one, Jeff? 17-6 final. What a game!
It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Saints gonna win. Breeze, which is spelled Breeze, is having a legendary season. Fat man on campus can't even piss in a boot. Well, Josh, you seem a little salty that I'm picking against you. Learn how to spell, cuz Breeze is Brees, idiot. What else do we have here? 5K on Washington. Wow. I guess he's going to do that.
He wants Adrian Peterson, man.
Good luck with that.
You don't think when you're betting on Washington, Jeff, you always get, I mean, outside the Saints game, which they just weren't prepared for that. It seems like you always get an honest effort. Like if you lay money on the Washington Redskins, like you expect to almost watch a football game. Like, you know what? No matter what, I'm going to be in this the whole way. We've all bet games on our career, Jeff, where you lay the money and be like, dude, I was wrong. Like, right up, sometimes you just want to enjoy your bet, even if it loses. Like, give me 4 quarters and missed that field goal at the end. Damn it, that hurts. Sometimes you just lay your money down in the first quarter. You're like, man, I messed up.
Yeah, no, hey, that's how I felt with Flood International last night.
Yeah, but it wasn't. You had at least 14-14, and then the banana peel came out for you.
Yeah, they just couldn't get a stop. No. Hey, Donnie, let me ask you a question. We got about 10 minutes here. Mm-hmm. What is my code name? Like, what's my nickname in this business?
The BMOC.
What does that stand for?
Big man on campus.
I always love when people take out the big and put fat in. Like
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get offended by that.
Yes.
My name is Big Man on Campus, you stupid motherfuckers.
Or they're, oh boy, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him back. Wrong side.
Yeah, right. Right. Dude, you really thought out that one.
Wrong
How long
side.
did that take
Yeah,
you to come
that's
up with
good.
it? You
Yeah,
called him Donnie or wrong wager.
yeah, it's a good one now.
It's
We
like
like to
how
have
long
fun. Yeah, we
did
do
you get
like
that
to
one?
have fun.
That Comedy Central must call you for a job. You have to be a comedian. It took you that. I cannot believe you came up with that one. Uh, Amazing stuff by
Jeff, we
you.
got a couple minutes to spend on the biggest
Yes.
game of the week. The two most dominant quarterbacks, late breaking injuries. And that's not late breaking because the game's not going to be till later tonight. But
Yep.
does it look? Earl, I'm going to say I'll set the table for this game, Green Bay, New England. Early in the week, try to find every single way I can, Jeff. Every single way I can to try to back the New England Patriots at home. You can't beat Brady and Belichick when they're healthy. You know, it just looks like they're rolling in the right direction. Tough loss for Green Bay on the West Coast. Fly home to Green Bay. Now you got to fly to play a prime time game in an environment that, you know, the Patriots just absolutely thrive in. Then you hear the little things like Edelman should be good to go. Gronk, he's going to test it out. Sony Michel, not so much in this football game. These are one of those games where you need all hands on deck and ready to go. Because if you go into the game where Edelman is banged up and Gronk is inactive, all of a sudden, do you like the Patriots laying 6 at home or 5.5 at home in that point?
No, but then I looked to Green Bay and I asked myself, what exactly is this team doing? I don't understand. Like, are they in or out on this season? Because you're trading away players. Like,
Didn't make any sense to me. You're right. It didn't make any
yeah,
sense with that move.
it's weird. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, you have a lot of injuries, as you said. I mean, you know, but then again, I mean, everybody's questionable for the Patriots. I'll be interested in the injury report here, and that's where for me, I can't make a pick until we get that. You know, you look at this injury report: Josh Gordon, Cordero, Rob Gronkowski, Edelman. I mean, Edelman's probably going to play. Sony Michel. A lot of injuries on this report. Will all these guys play? Who knows? But until that's decided, I can't really make a pick. If they all play, yeah, I mean, of course that number is going to probably go up, and the Pats will probably win. But the question is, Donnie, like the Washington Redskins, do you buy that this New England defense is improving? Because I don't know that I see it.
I think it is. I think it's getting healthier by the week, and I think they're getting their playmakers back from where it was in the beginning. But the reason that you were hating on the Patriots a lot early in the season, because yes, they had some injuries to the defense, but the offense
Donnie,
wasn't all the way there.
Here's my issue though with New England. They're good against the run for the most part, but they have gotten fucking riddled over the last 4 weeks through the air. I mean, you look at this. Indy put up 355. KC put up 352. Chicago put up 319. Buffalo put up 287, Donnie, on them. What's Aaron Rodgers going to throw to his fucking arm falls off here?
That's what you're looking at there. But you're also expecting them to win the football game. Like, it's not one of those games where like, oh, I hope the Green Bay Packers keep it close. I think they're gonna have to win the football game in order to cover this. But it's just the road Packers. You know what I mean? Like, at Washington didn't really show up. At Detroit, the field goal kicker going berserk and them losing that football game. At the Rams taking a loss. You'd feel a little bit better if they were going on the road and handling their business. That's the only drawback, because when you're asking yourself, Jeff, you said it yourself many times, learned at an early age, don't you bet against Tom Brady out there. And he's at home, but styles do matter. If you're going to have Edelman and Gronk all banged up out there, it's not as enticing,
Yeah.
Or Gordon banged up too, for that matter.
Sure. And again, you have to make sure you're looking at these you're looking at this injury report, be proactive and go out and get that information. Don't wait for it, because that's the stuff. You're getting out in front of some of this stuff. How many people, Donnie, are going to put New England in a teaser tonight?
I don't know. I think it would be the opposite way. I think more people would say, I'll take Green Bay getting 10 in this game.
Green Bay at home to win. All they got to do is win.
No, New England. Yeah. No, I tease is going to be popping tonight in that game, because it's going to be over, because if you're betting the over, like, oh, there's definitely going to be 50 points, or no way they get to 62 in this football game, because when I broke it down early in the week, I actually like the under 56.5 in this game, Jeff, because I don't see the big time field stretching dominant players. I see a lot of underneath stuff, a lot of completions, and a lot of first downs, which means a lot of clock movement.
Again, for the record, Buffalo puts up 149 yards a game through the air. They put up 287 on the New England Patriots. Listen, if you get one or two of those guys from New England in, this game's going over. It just is. And Donnie, this league is over. And that's all this league is anymore. And I hate to be basic here, but I think if you take these 3 games where you expect the game to go over, 2 out of 3 are going to go over. No one's really seemed to be able to catch up with these totals. Maybe lately, though, they will. I don't know. All right, Donnie, the time has come. We got 5 minutes to go. Plays of the day. I'm going to go with Denver. I think Denver money line is the play. I'm going to rock with that one. We'll maybe add something on the halftime show, maybe a second half or something. What do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it a little mysterious at 1 o'clock, Jeff. I'm going to stick with my guns, 459, 460. I'm going to take the Jets and the rookie quarterback on the road getting 3 points. I just think it's going to be a close game either way. I'll lay the points out there, maybe a little bit of field shenanigans, but the fact that you have a rookie quarterback now that can drop back, Jeff, and has some weapons at wide receiver that he can let it go with, I'm going to lean on them.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I really don't. I mean, I don't love them on the road, but I also don't like the Miami Dolphins really under much circumstance. Well, this seems like a Miami lose too, a way to lose.
Yeah.
Just it's kind of lame.
Yep.
But all right, that'll be it, guys, for the show.
Halftime. Join us at halftime, man. Thanks for all the people checking in, man. Hit over close to 5. I don't even know if there was ever a shot. We got over 500, but really close to one of the most well-attended shows here on the channels for live broadcasting. So we do want to thank you for that. And we put this on to have a lot of fun, Jeff. Close us out, and we'll be back at the half, Jeff.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Like Donnie said, everyone tuning in. We had about 500 people in here at one time, at one point. I think, Donnie, this has got to be the most popular show on this channel. I mean, I don't think I've seen that number get. Yeah, it's a fun show. Thanks to everyone. Chris Edge, what's up? Hope you're doing well. All you guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show and learned something today. We'll be back same time, same place here at halftime of the 1 o'clock games. Enjoy and good luck. We'll see you at halftime.